Good morning, it's Monday. I've turned up to do the media wall, just here. And there's the fireplace. There's the TV. However, we are no longer doing it as the drawing. We are going to change all around the TV. It's going to be oak slats because they like the staircase. They like the oak on the staircase. And we've just got to confirm the sizes and do a bit of jiggery pokery. So it's not the most productive start. The customer's here, so we're just going to go through that. It's just on a work call, so I'm just patiently waiting. It's about 11 AM already, but I'm warm, I'm dry, I'm happy. I booked my snowboarding trip last night. So all is good-ish. Good morning, Tuesday morning. I didn't film anything else yesterday because as soon as I got to the house, the customer pretty much changed their mind about the media unit. Now what they want is actually for the better. They want like these oak slats on, but the upshot of that is I've got to source them. I've never done that before. You can buy these prefabricated panels, but everything I've seen that I can get anytime within the next week and a half is just, to me, looks crap. It's expensive as well. You're probably looking at about 500 quid just to get the panels. I've still got to build it. Whereas I've got a workshop, I can run some slats out. But it took me yesterday to basically come to terms with that and figure that out. Also, just setting it out now has become a little bit more awkward, so that took a bit of time. I didn't really get a lot done. It's an embarrassing day, actually. Frustrating because it's a day that's, you know, really my bread and butter, really throwing up some you know, not bread and butter, but it's easy work for me. I should be smashing that out, but you know what they say, best laid plans and all that. So yeah, I'll do a bit of filming today at some point. I've got up really early. I went swimming just, you know, just for a little bit of a break really from thinking about this. And I've just gone and got all the materials to just get it built, and then we'll worry about the oak slatting and that afterwards. What I want to try and do, you see, is get it wrapped up. I also had to jump on and help the electrician yesterday. It wasn't the electrician that was supposed to turn up, it was another one. Yeah, so I just felt deflated yesterday, to be honest with you, but it'll come right in the end. I just don't want to be at a position by the end of the week where I'm like going, oh yeah, and I've got to come back and do this, I've got to come back and do that. I like to, when I'm done, I want to be done so I can then focus on my next job. I've got people now that are waiting, but I don't hold that against the customer in the slightest. You know when you're being abused, and in this instance I'm not, so I'm fine with that, and I'd always give extra. I'll always do extra. If someone's doing right by me, I'll always do more than right by them, and especially if I think it's going to look good by the end. So yeah, I've just got to kind of cherry pick the positives from an attitude point of view, and almost hit fast forward in my brain of what it's going to be like. Sometimes I think that's the biggest thing, especially when you're working alone, which is all I'm doing now. Getting to that end point can take a long time, so yeah, it becomes quite frustrating. The process can seem really laborious, because it is. Anyway, I'll just put him back into standing now, so I'll update you in a bit. Wednesday morning, I just thought I'd show you, it doesn't look like I've done a lot, but this is basically what I've done for 2 days. The exception being that day number 1 was half a day in reality. And I've also lost time, quite a lot of time, because I've had to open everything. I've had to go through it, because the schematics they send don't really tell you exactly how it's going to work, because the idea is, this TV here that will sit in this opening is going to pull forwards to access the skybox and all the Xbox and all stuff like that. With a sound bar in there, it will do the same thing. And you've got a floating detail underneath, which I've got to create. At the moment, I'm on 28 lengths of CLS. So that just shows how much work's involved in there. So what I'm going to do, and I did think I'd have this done in 3 days because I was going to plaster it. When you plaster and stuff, you can build it a bit quicker. It's only half a day to plaster it. I was sort of allowing, well, 3 days really to complete it, but I'm on day 3. I will complete the structure of it today, but then I've got to paint it black, put the shadow buttons on, make the shelves. It's going to be a week's work really, which is crazy. That pipe's noisy, so I'm hoping by the time I insulate that, that will sort that out. That is mad. Right, anyway. Yeah, okay, I'm going to crack on. Right, I'll update you in a bit. Right, okay, yeah, I forgot to say really, basically, the plan is now, this morning, is basically just going to finish off putting all the timber on, the actual CLS timber, the studding timber. I'm going to get all that on, and then that means that I can clad it, finish cladding it. I've done it in stages thus far, because I've had to clad bits before I've built the next bit, and you've got to check it as you go, and make sure some stuff can be adjusted if the bracket isn't, you know, not quite as deep as what I've measured it and stuff like that. Just how the TV sits. So at the moment, I'm hoping now 2 hours finishing the stud work, and then yeah, just jump on with the cladding it and then paint it at the end of the day. It seems like a tall order, but then it doesn't if you look at overall 3 days, 2.5 days. Yeah. Okay, right, I'm gonna jump on with it. Epic failure. I didn't finish it. Didn't actually get it painted. So I'm gonna have to come back in the morning. I've got a school run tomorrow as well, so it's gonna be a ball ache. But basically, that's where I got to. It's near as. Just got to fill the screw holes and sand them, give it all a quick sand over, just take care of some of the edges. To double that up in the end, because I made a bit of a cock up on the measurement. But and then these, I'll just poke these through. These are on glued and screwed, and they shall take one side of the shelf. The rest is all battened out. That will be strong enough, and if not, I shall mark where the timbers are and put some rods in. But it does look good. You know, you just got to have a bit of imagination now to see the Venetian plaster and the slats. Although I will get so basically tomorrow I'm going to come in the morning that I've got the school run. and fill that, sand it, paint it black. I'll probably only get one coat on it. Then I'm going to go to the workshop, make the shelves, do the slats, and I don't know how I'm going to, maybe I'll come in the morning on Friday and paint it and fit the slats in the afternoon. I just don't know. Anyway, that's nothing out. I'll see you later. A quick tip for when you do two-part filling, you want to have in batches, number them. So here, that one is batch 1, that's batch 2. Put a dot there and a dot there with your two-part, the right size. There and there, and then I'll work from that pile, and then when that's running out, I'll work from the next pile. Otherwise it goes off too quick and you waste a load. Yeah. Right, Wednesday midday. It's Thursday midday. Okay, I can't even get the day right. It's Thursday midday. I've come into the workshop. The workshop's an absolute, like a bomb's gone off in it. I'm going to start. I've got to do mitre folds for the shelves, and I've got to run off. I've got a lot of oak. Fuck, I've got to run off some oak for slats, for the slat walling. Yeah. Bloody hell, got a lot to do. And I'm going to try and do it in about 4 or 5 hours so I can go back to the media unit and paint it black, which means I can finish it Friday. But we'll see how we go. Not too much pressure on myself. Right, I'm going to see what I can do. I'm probably not going to film much of this. It's been a terrible week actually. But yeah, see how we get on. Hi there, right, okay, so it's about 1:30, possibly 2, I'm not sure actually. But that's taken an hour and a half, couple of hours really, just to run all them veneer boards through the panel saw, and I shall show you now what you're left with. I've basically got this ×3, basically like a big origami set really, and I actually do extras of the smaller pieces because them in particular are a bit of a pain to cut, and that's where your adjustment is as well in them little front bits. And sometimes you find ones that don't really look like the grain follows through and stuff quite as well. I've cut them all out of one board, so it should be pretty good. And then I tend to pick the radial cuts for the ends. Just think it looks nicer. You probably should really pick the radial cuts for the fronts as well. Yeah, anyway, and then you mark where your battens are going. What we'll do is we'll glue some battens in there as well. We'll get glue all in there, and we'll basically fold it all over back on itself. And we put these battens in such a way that they're not going to interfere with any battens that we put on the wall. So I'll have a batten against the wall there, so I'll keep this one in. I know I've got a timber on the job about here, so I won't put a batten there. Yeah, I'll probably whack you on a time lapse now, just so you can see how I do them. Right then. Yeah, unfortunately, unfortunately I haven't got enough oak. Unless I use that bit up there, which I could do. This is the oak I've got, which I've just resized. I've got one more length up there. That's it. There was a load of ash lying on top of it. I've got some more thicker oak, but it's just wasteful to use that. I don't need to do all of it this week, but I wanted to get all the milling done so that the job was sort of ready to be fitted, and I could just nip in and fit it in the evening. It only take a couple of hours to pin it all. So I'll just see how I get on really. Right, okay. That's the bulk of it, surface. Oh, that's everything I'm willing to sacrifice for this job surface planed. I haven't got enough anyway. I've got some really heavy oak down there, which I'm not, thicker oak I'm not going to use, because that is for another job. And it'd be wasteful. I've got another job starting next week where I'm going to have to buy a load of oak to make this boot room for the chap up the road. So, yeah, I'll just get more oak then. It's a bit of a shame, but for the sake of, you know, going out to get some now, and also I know it's crazy to actually make the slats, but I mean, we're looking at, if I'd have had enough oak, I reckon I could have them made in 3 hours. And it does actually work out cheaper. And also I just didn't want to wait. I want to get this job onto the next level now, onto the next step, sorry. Right, anyway, I'm going to crack on with that, and I'll update in a little bit when I've started cutting the slats. Okay, so it's 5 o'clock. It's taken about 4.5 hours. In that time, I've made the 3 floating shelves. So with cutting them, miter-folding them. If you want to see exactly how I do the miter-folds, because I didn't film it today, because I just wanted to get through it. On week 2's video, I actually show how the jig I've made for the panel saw for doing miter-folds. I've also reduced enough oak to do the media unit, with the exception of it's probably about 10 long pieces that go on top of the Venetian plaster. That doesn't need to go on now anyway, because it will just make sort of Billy, the chap who's doing the Venetian plaster, it will make his job really hard. And the customer's actually gone to his showroom today to pick the actual stone effect, so I'll know tomorrow when he's booked in, so I can then schedule going back to do the bits of oak. I thought I'd just take a minute, because basically I was going to oil them, but it's going to take me a long time to oil these. Now I can look at how many's there. It will just take forever. And I'm only oiling one side and possibly the edges. And I think when it goes against the black background, each one might just need a bit of a sand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of oil and sand and oil as I fit each one tomorrow. So I thought I'd just take a little bit of time. Now I'm not oiling them, to sort of explain the cost of this and why I chose to do it. So number one, the customer changed their mind on Monday, which basically meant I had to come up with a new plan. I then didn't really start looking, because I just wanted to get some work done Monday. I didn't really start looking for the slats till Monday night. I couldn't find anywhere that was going to deliver them any sooner than sort of 7th of Feb, which is basically about a week's time. And I also just wanted to get the job done. Then I was looking at the cost. With delivery, we're looking at around about £500 for 4 panels. Actually a little bit more, to be honest with you, because some people were charging for delivery and some weren't. Now, although this oak, I will charge for it, it doesn't actually owe me anything, because it does owe me something, but I've kind of absorbed that cost, because this was actually bought for another job, which is now finished, and then next week's job I need to buy some more. Got some down there anyway to start that. You know, we're not talking anywhere near the £500 mark, although I will be charging, you know, per metre for what it would cost to perhaps buy these. And we're looking at 4.5 hours labour, you know, at £35 an hour. So yeah, I mean, I know I looked at even just buying the slats, and it was something like £9 a slat. Well, there's, you know, Christ knows how many slats are actually there. Well, to be fair, they're 2.4s, but if we took the fact that I've got 30 at 1.5 and probably about 80 at the rest, I've definitely got a good 30 at 2.4. So yeah, it sort of shows really that it does pay, because I know a lot of people will be thinking it's madness to thickness and reduce that many slats when you can just buy a pre-finished product. But there is a way to make these things work, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to justify it a little bit really. Because it has been something I've been thinking, do I do that, do I don't? But yeah, it's turned out all right. 4.5 hours, and I've done the floating shelves as well, so yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go to the customer's house now. I'm going to put a second coat of black on that media wall, drop these off so they can sit in the room overnight. That will sort of help them acclimatise, and then I'll actually try and fit them as late as I can tomorrow, so again they've acclimatised as much as possible. The advantage being that, you know, there's a bit of flexibility in them anyway, so any movement I can correct. Right, okay. What is popping? It's Friday. I just thought I'd do a talk over on this, just explaining a bit of the process rather than music. So basically, these are the 80 slats I machined yesterday, which if you remember from yesterday's video, I didn't actually manage to oil them. So what we do is we square cut 4 and we write 1, 2, 3, 4 on them. We hold them up to the left-hand side. We then mark to the fire and we take them outside, recut, we sand wheel, we stack to one side. We then do the right-hand side, do exactly the same thing. Except we do A, B, C, D, so we don't get confused. And then basically, while the A, B, C, Ds are drying, we start applying the 1, 2, 3, 4s. And as soon as the 1, 2, 3, 4s are on, we actually start measuring and marking another 1, 2, 3, 4. And then while they're drying, we're applying the A, B, C, Ds. And then we just rinse and repeat that. At the same time, we're applying the same process of what I did last week when I was setting the spindles, actually doing your spacings and your slats, exactly the same as setting spindles out. Except in this instance, it's a little bit more intense because we've got smaller gaps. So therefore, a smaller gap, like a grout join, if it's only half a mil or a mil out, you'll possibly spot it. And we're also trying to make the slats, or we did in this case, make them finish full slat to the edge of the TV, full slat to the edge of the unit, and full slat to the edge of the Sonos. And obviously, because everything was built to within a millimetre of central, that actually also finishes up central. That's why you'll see the laser level come out at some point, because every now and then I'm just having a double check, because I know I've got the bottom right. So if I follow through with the top, that'll be fine. Oh, and here's the people that don't own a brush or a hoover, also known as electricians. Yeah, looking good. Okay, it's about 6 o'clock now on Friday afternoon. I'll stay late just to get it done because I want to be away next week doing other bits and bobs, and it's so frustrating to spend all your time and effort on something and not actually get a finish to look at rather than just like a raw material. So yeah, I'll pan you around now. I also put the TV and that in with a customer. So yeah, you sort of have to now just imagine when Billy does a Venetian plaster, that going around there. I've left them slats off, as I said, because that's got to go on top of the plaster. That wouldn't be very fair on him to put those in. And then those 3 shelves I made yesterday, they're going in there again on top of the Venetian plaster. But yeah, it does look good. And I think anyone that's perhaps to suggest that, you know, oh yeah, you can buy these boards and whatnot. But yeah, that's worked doing that. And I think as well, if I'd have brought the boards, I personally cannot see how you would marginalise everything. I've managed to tweak the spacing so that everything lands in the right place around the TV. So that's another thumbnail, I think. And then next week is starting another job. But I'm not working Monday, so it'll just be Tuesday I'll be starting another job. See how that one goes. Well, I'll get this thumbnail done.